Yeah. I think. Yeah, it's going.
And I want to put it up next to the photo out there too.
All right, thank you everybody for coming. This is Papa's funeral, and I'm going to share a couple stories about the Papa that I know and love. It might be different than the Papa you know. I didn't know him from the beginning of his life, so if you want to know all that, you can definitely read the obituary. It's got all that information in it. So my earliest memories of Papa were going to California, that 6-hour drive that took 6 years every time, and eating at In-N-Out, and then getting to their house really late. And my Nana had the same welcome every single time. She would say, "Hey!" And it's the best welcome ever. It's the same thing every time. So then we would sleep and wake up, and as soon as we'd wake up, Papa would be banging pots and pans and slamming cupboards, and everyone knew that it's breakfast time because that's your alarm clock. So then he would make coffee, and anybody's had that coffee there, you know that there's grounds at the bottom of the cup every time. It's a broken percolator. They still have the same one. And then he would take us to the beach, and we would bring Lunchables for lunch, and whenever we would get hungry, we would get out of the water, but it would be like 4 or 5 hours until you get out of the water. So you'd get in the ocean, be swimming, and the drift would take you about a mile north, all right? So after about 4 hours, you'd get out of the water, and you wouldn't know where Papa was. So you'd have to literally walk and look for him as a little kid. And one of my earliest memories is always finding him not alone. He would be sitting with 4, 5, 6, 10 people with all of their chairs around him, listening to him regale them with his shenanigans. And I remember being really young and watching that and being like, that's how I want to be. I want everybody to like me. I want to be able to go in any situation and let everyone enjoy themselves and not be threatened by me, have a good time. And those are the things that I learned from Papa by watching him. He never verbally taught me anything, ever. I watched how he did it. I saw him make conversations special, never ending a conversation. He'd always elaborate the conversation. He never tried to one-up people. He would always, you know, just have that extra, a little bit extra. Some people have it, some people don't. My Papa had it. And so then I'm gonna tell you some other stories. So then probably like the next story that really stands out in my head is I had a brand new bike, and he took me and my sister on a bike ride like really far from our house. And there was like still construction going on because it was like a new neighborhood. And there was like a bank encampment that like went down and then up, and he had like some great idea for us all to ride down and up it. So I got on my bike, and I remember thinking, I was like, I don't know if that's a good idea. And I saw Papa go down it, and he was fine. And then Dina went down it, and she was fine. And then I went down it, and I hit a rock, and I endoed, and I hit my stomach on it. And everybody remembers the first time they get their breath knocked out. It's like, oh, that's it. I'm done now. This is the rest. See you later, you know? You can't breathe, and you're scared. And I remember, like, not being able to breathe, and I reached out to Papa and tried to say help, and he goes, "Hey, get up!" And I was so mad at him, and then I went, and now I look back on it, and if my daughter Gia ever has a son, and I take them out and I tell him to do stuff, and he gets his breath knocked out, I'm just say the same thing: just get up. And I said, what are you gonna do? Just get up. You know, it'll all be fine. And when you're 30 years old and you realize there's nothing I could have done in that situation, you know. So then, so the day I turned 15, my Papa gave me his truck, all right? And it's just like proof that he wasn't a materialistic person. He didn't care about physical things. When I think of him, I don't think of brand new cars and this, you know, this lifestyle of luxury. I just remember him sitting on the porch watching birds. That's what he loved to do. He didn't care about material things. He gave me a truck when I was 15. And I remember my friends were like, that's a cool truck, man, that's awesome. Why is there like a cut in the tailgate, like clean through? And I was like, I think he used that as a table for his circular saw and just grinded and cut through the tailgate because he didn't care. He didn't care about those things, you know? And if you know Papa, you know that he doesn't care about anything, you know? Like, it's like an ongoing joke, you know? Like, oh my God, are you popping that, you know? Like, I remember being little, and he brought me and my sister to McDonald's to get Happy Meals. And we're in the line for the Happy Meals, and it's literally like a 3-second gap in the conversation where he was like, what do you guys want? And we're like, 2 Happy Meals. And he goes, I'll take 2 home on the ranges. And we laughed so hard, like, what in all the world is a home on the range? We had just told him Happy Meal. So then we get home and we're still laughing about it. And I remember about 2 years ago, I brought my sister's kids to McDonald's, and I was like, what do you guys want? And they're like, oh, we want Happy Meals. And I was like, I'll get 3 home on the ranges. And they were like, what are you on about this time? And so it didn't really have the same effect, because only Papa can say those Papa things, you know? So, you know, the end of his life, it's, you know, it's sad to see someone go like that, but about 7 years ago, we were sitting on his porch and we were having a couple Coronas and just enjoying watching the birds, and he told me that he misses his brothers and sisters. He sometimes talks to them in his dreams, and he feels bad that he's still here and they're gone. And so when I think of my Papa being gone, I don't really think of it being so sad, because that's something that he told me, that is something that he wanted. He wanted to be with the people that, you know, he talks to them, you know. So I don't feel so bad that Papa's gone. He lived a great life, and you know, I got to see him through the end. And through those last 2 years, no one really knows how much my sister did for him. She's the only one that really does know. I don't know. My sister helps more people in one day than I probably ever help in my whole life. So if you could come give me a hug, I really appreciate everything you do every day. I love you. So now, Cousin Daryl's gonna say a couple things. He's gonna go ahead and say a prayer, and then the rest of the itinerary. Thank you. And